how do I take these fleshly desires and put it in its proper place? Because we all are human, so we all gonna vibe off the flesh at times. But how many times are we gonna allow the flesh to defeat us in the spirit? So we're focusing on walking in the spirit. Because I said with Joseph really didn't know until he went down the process of how God was really using him to the magnitude. He just was doing what was in his spirit. He was allowing his spirit to elevate out of his mouth, and that's why he was able to interpret dreams. But his interpretation never said, God, what you want me to say in this? He interpreted because that was a gift. We all have a gift down on the inside. And whatever that gift is down on the inside, we got to magnify it. We got to stop allowing our gifts just to sit under the tree and never open it, never use it, never let it do. Nobody gets a gift not to be used. Whatever gift you receive, you are supposed to use it, whether you like it or not. Some gifts we're not going to appreciate when God gives it to us, but it should be appreciative. It should be something we should appreciate. Every gift that God gives us, we're not going to understand it to the level that He understands it. But we have to walk in it. We have to let it process in us. So when we talk about Joseph, and I gave that example of the driving, in Matthew 7:12, it said, so in everything, do it to others what you would have them to do to you. What the sum of the law of the prophet. Why did I read that and why did I give that example? Because it's about the heart. What's in your heart will elevate your character. Because that's how you will be evaluated at times. By what you display out of your heart. So when you driving down that road and then that person is weaving and they on their phone and you start going off, that's in your heart. And you haven't realized that's in your heart. Because the heart is deceitful.
Yeah.
The heart makes evil good and good evil.
Yes.
It all depends on your interpretation.
Yes.
And it all depends on your position that you have with God at that time.
Yes.
Because God clarifies your interpretation. He gives us deliverance in the areas of concern. But we can't allow our heart to manifest in our mind, the thoughts in our mind, because it will take it over. When you talk about Joseph, as I say, he had no idea of what was being revealed in him. But he knew he had something special dwelling down on the inside.
Yes.
That's why when things happen, he manifested out of his mouth with no issues. If I walk up to you now and say, you're going to bow down to me, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem with me because you're going to say, how can he say that? He's not humble. He's too prideful. But there was no pride about Joseph. Joseph was just speaking what was down on the inside and making it evident on the outside. So when you talk about his brothers, they had great work ethics. But what did they have down on the inside? What was in their heart? Jealousy,
Yes.
pride, envy,
Yes.
no loyalty, no belief. They had it in them. It was dwelling on the inside, but they didn't realize it. Sometimes things go on in your life that you just don't realize what's going on. That's why I use that example of you pulling it up to next to somebody. Because we think that's senseless. We think that's meaningless. But when we doing the same thing, we don't want the same results.
Right.
So you don't treat people like you treat them. You treat people like you want to be treated.
Amen.
And a lot of that comes from the heart.
Yes.
What's dwelling in your heart today that's holding you down? What's dwelling in your heart today that's picking you up? What's your motivation in your heart that makes you want to keep going? What was in your heart today to make you come today? What was in your heart today to make you get in your car and drive? What's in your heart? Because if you figure out what's in your heart, a lot of things in your life will go a lot better. You will see things a lot different. Because if you have any type of malice or envy in your heart, it is not going to go the way that you want it to go. Joseph's brothers wasn't mad at Joseph. They was really mad at his daddy. But they took it out on Joseph. Because all they could see is the envy that they had for him because of the way he was treated and the way they was treated. But it didn't say nothing about the daddy treating them bad. It just talked about he didn't allow Joseph to do certain things that they did. But Joseph went out there and worked too. But since he had a new garment, his work was not the same. It was not the same. So we have to look at what's down on the inside. Yes. Joseph allowed the Spirit of God to manifest in his life by recognizing his gift. He walked by the promise of God. In Genesis 41, and that's pretty much what a lot of this text is coming from, but I'm going to break it up 25 and 28, and I'm going to read 32, 39, and 40, but I'm going to read it all in a flow. It says, Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows in 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterwards are 7 years. And so that the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east winds, they are 7 years of famine. It is just as God said. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God. Sometimes things are firmly decided by God on what you're going to go through. God is not caught by surprise on anything. God knew that his brothers was going to start messing with him. God knew how Jacob, the trickster, was going to be manifesting and how he was going to want Joseph to be elevated and his other son through Rachel. Is it Rachel? Yep. So basically, he had Jacob even had a special feeling for Rachel because that was his favorite. So that made Joseph and his brother his favorite as well because she was no longer there. So he elevated that thought process about them. God knew all of these things was going to happen. God knows all these things is going to happen with you. Some things that you're concerned about, God already knows.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
But he has 2 ways for you to get there. A lot of times the only thing we're looking for is that one-way street. But it says the reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God. And God will do it soon. It's not our time, it's his time. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. Now, Pharaoh wasn't honoring Joseph. Pharaoh was honoring the God in Joseph.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, amen.
Your boss is not honoring you.
Right.
Your boss is honoring the God in you.
Yes.
You guys don't praise me and Pastor Katrina. You praise the God in me and Pastor Katrina. So what we have to identify, what is God, the God in you being elevated to? Because people are not just going to honor you, they're going to honor the God in you.
Yes.
That's why we say when you walk out these doors, you are an example of the ministry.
Yeah.
Because the ministry represents God. So if you go out and act a fool, and then they correlate you with the ministry. They don't think the ministry is a fool. And we don't want the ministry to look like no fool, so that's why when we call you and say, hey, you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, because the ministry is being evaluated by the fools.
You're preaching. That's true.
That's in the ministry.
It is what it is.
So that's why we have to get ourselves right. That's why we have to be passionate about what we're doing here. So that's why when we preach, we're not just preaching you out of your Good Samaritan act so you can be goody two shoes and things. We attack, the word is going to attack you. But the only thing the word is going to attack, you know that old saying that the shoe fit word?
Yes.
The only thing that the word is going to attack is what you feel like you ain't got on your feet.
All right now. All right now.
Because of the shoe fit word. And as we always say, when you walk out, just like I said, when you walk out, you can pick your chains back up. When you sit here right now, you can go to deaf ears. You can do whatever you want to do. But just like I always say, he that has an ear, let him hear. If you're not lined up with the word of God, you can't hear what I'm saying right now. And I don't even expect you to be able to hear. I expect you to leave out of here confused. Because you're not lined up. You're not in the right position to be able to hear what God is saying. So sometimes look at what's going on in your life. That's why we say the heart. What's in your heart right now? Who are you mad at? Who are you frustrated with? What discernments is going on in your life that you want to see different? What is it? When you go to work, who's making you not want to be there? When you get in your car and you're going 270 and you know traffic is heavy, why are you mad? You knew every morning that you went, like I told the girls the other day, I said, I just got to go a different way. Because every day I'm getting mad because every time I get to this light, these people is just clogging one lane when it's two lanes. So the first couple of times when I got up there, I went around. And I'm mad. I'm looking at all of them like, why y'all ain't getting over? Y'all see all these cars lined up on Lindbergh? But instead of trying to fix them, I fixed me. I went another way. Now I'm going another way. Because I realized the other way is longer than the way of me waiting. So they that wait on the Lord, he shall renew their strength. So sometimes you think you got the solution and the resolution and you ain't even got it. God got me going that way for a reason because it's the quickest. But I couldn't see it because I was distracted by all the cars lined up and they ain't getting over. But I still got there faster by waiting in line. Sometimes you're going to get there. You just got to wait. Stop being impatient. Just think about Joseph. If Joseph would have got impatient when he got thrown in the little water well or whatever it was, and sat down there, and his older brother saying, "We just gonna." The older brother already had the plan. We can't kill him. Right. He knew the results of killing him. We can throw him down here for a while, and I'm gonna come back and get him later. Oh, here comes the merchants. Now we got to sell them. Why am I saying that? Because something may be in your mind, but it ain't in God's plan.
Right. Woo. That's good.
See, his brother Reuben thought it was let's go on down here. I'll come back later, get them on out, then everything will be made all right. Didn't work like that.
Right.
Why it didn't work like that?
It wasn't
It wasn't in
God's plan.
God's plan.
Amen.
Joseph had to go through something.
Yeah.
Joseph had to be tested.
Yeah.
You gotta be tested.
Amen.
If you're not tested, how you know if you're gonna pass the test? Joseph had to be tested. So that's why when he was going to Potiphar, he got all the accolades. But then here comes his wife. Messed all that up. Joseph didn't do nothing. He was being tested. You didn't do nothing, but you're being tested. So every time you're being tested, it's not because you did something. So stop saying, what did I do?
Right, right. That's right.
What did I do to deserve this? Nothing. Just get through the test.
Yes, yes, yes.
Work through the test.
Yes.
Be committed to the challenge. That's what tests do. So Joseph had that situation. Then even in that situation, even though he was thrown in jail, he was still blessed. Why was he blessed? Because he stayed committed to the process. He stayed committed to God. We didn't hear Joseph saying to God, why you do this to me? He just took every challenge as the challenge and made the best of every situation. And when you're blessed, you're blessed.
Yes.
Certain people that's blessed can walk in any place and magnify the whole building because they are blessed. A lot of times, and this is not no creed to me, but people tell me this, it's every place that I've been to, I feel like I've been blessed. But I always acknowledge one thing to everybody when I go to certain places. I'm led by God to be here. When I was at Riverview, I was led by God. When I moved to Hazel East, I was led by God. When I went to North Middle, I was led by God. When I went to Carter River, I was led by God. It was no situation that I was not led by God. Because in every one of those situations, God elevated me. He elevated my status. He elevated my responsibilities.
Praise God.
And he elevated the respect that the people had for me.
Praise God.
Why is that? Because I'm led by God.
Yeah.
When you're led by God, things are made right. When you're led by you,